We are indeed streaming live on Facebook. So thank you all for coming. I'll go and add the link to join the Zoom call on Facebook here in a second. But welcome everybody to Airtable Off the Records. This Off the Records Airtable Secrets and Lore. This is week 15. So we are a group of Airtable users exploring new ways to use Airtable to optimize our businesses and lives. And we're open to hearing from anyone about their experience or your experience, good or bad, using Airtable to make a positive impact on the world. We attempt to promote people coming from any level to share their ideas or ask questions about Airtable. We also share our experiences, tips, and practices, and offer ways to get help and get involved in the community. We meet every Wednesday from 7 to 7:30 in Clubhouse, that's Eastern time, and then 7:30 to 8 in the Facebook group, Airtable Community, where we live stream, and anybody can join the call. So to kick things off, have something to share. We did go through some Airtable news, which mainly revolved around Airtable being slow this week, and then some copycat issues. But as far as the other Airtable news, Chris, did you want to show off any of the doctor system, or the systems you built for doctors?
Well, it's in my healthcare system. I've talked about it before, but let me go get the report I created. Give me 1 second. Keep it busy because I got to step out of the room. Hold on.
Deal. So we have Daniel, Rebecca, Chris, and Devin in here. Great to have you all in here.
I'm doing my classic Airtable /food thing.
What are you making today?
I have it made. It's leftovers, though. It's a little behind. But got some chicken, got some kind of like peppers and asparagus together. We got some broccoli with a bit of garlic, like a little butter garlic on it, and then some fried up Brussels sprouts. So we got a good little mix today.
You need to start putting these recipes and the ingredients in an Airtable base and then selling them.
It's simple.
And use your recipes.
It's just simple. I could probably do spices. That's probably where I could maybe sell some money, but only to like bland people. Like I would have nothing on anybody who actually likes. This isn't like, I'm not talking heat. I'm just talking like flavor mix. But
Devin's cooking again, Chris.
Is that busy enough for you, Chris?
Does that mean we've got more chicken bones this week?
Well, I meant to send you a picture. Yeah, I cooked chickens on was it Sunday? Yeah, I meant to send a picture. Yeah.
My goodness, I love it.
Another week from now, we'll have soup.
It takes that seriously. It does take that long to get like all of those, all that stuff together.
I'm sitting at 4 in the bank.
After we met last time, guys, I shared a little bit about the table I built, and I think I might have shared before. I'm not sure, but I can share it again. Part of my kind of bigger life system is healthcare. Right, so I've got healthcare is a part of everyone's life, and my financials and everything else are in here. But some time ago, I set out to migrate all of our healthcare records, our doctor's visits, not only for me, but for our pets, the whole bit, over to a new system within Airtable that we could all start to use. And I had to see a new cardiologist this week. And part of that, trek to see the cardiologist was making sure that I got him all of my healthcare information, right? So we all know what this is like, right? And you gotta have all that kind of good stuff ready. So I went ahead and used the data from the base to create. So first I'll bring up the dashboard for a second. So let me go ahead and pull this up. Give me 1 second. Gotta get the sharing going. Make sure I have all the right information hidden, because we all know that I will literally show the wrong thing in the right system. So let me go ahead and make sure I've got that going on. All right, looks good. But from that, I got to go ahead and print out my first set of reports. So I'll pull up the health system. So the health system is kind of nice because it's front-ended by a dashboard where I can come in here and log health incidents, just doctor's visit. I can see health by family member, whether it's the cat, me, and the partner, a list of all the drugs anyone's on, including drugs for dogs and cats, all the surgeries and procedures ever had done. Plus, we've got a whole healthcare Gantt chart timeline, and then you can search for health records. Come in here and search for this, and we've got a system checker. But what you'll love is I actually used Report to create these cool reports. So because all the data is in there, it allowed me to, and I can't pull them up fast enough, pull out the healthcare information from the Airtable and format it in these really great little reports for the doctor. So today I showed up at the doctor's office, history, timelines, the whole bit, and his mind was just blown, right? I extracted this from our life system, that kind of where we talk about summaries of our decades from health. And then the last one was just basically questions and text I had from the medications tab. But it was so cool because I then combined it with data from Apple Watch. And so all the kind of Apple Watch stuff. So long story short, it turned out so well today because when I saw my doctor, we didn't spend 20 minutes because you get like a whole 30 minutes with doctors.
And is your Apple Watch data in your Airtable base, or is that separate?
Yeah. So Ben and I have talked about this. There's a health exporter tool you can get for, it's an app. It's just like $5, and it will do a real-time feed from your Apple Watch data. They create a view for you, or they'll export it and send it to you once a week as a CSV, and you can just import it that way. The problem with it is you have to format it really carefully, because if you don't, you get like all the data from every single moment of your day. And that's a lot of Airtable records. Nobody needs that. So what I do is I have mine come in at a monthly level, so I can kind of see where things are. But I guess the point is, we've talked a lot about the different systems I use and run my Airtable on, but this healthcare one really came in handy today, because being able to see this doctor. And then when I was at the doctor, we had all these visits. He wanted me to see this specialist and this cardiac specialist and that cardiac specialist, and have this test and that test. And it was nice because I came home because all the appointments were right in my calendar. And of course, my calendar is live synced to one of my calendars. I've got one calendar that's live synced because I do all of them. It gets to be too much. And that information just ported right into my healthcare system. So it was like, I felt so empowered today because it can be a little overwhelming when you're doing when you've got healthcare challenges, and with COVID and everything, you have to be worried. So you can see in here, I've got all of the healthcare events that happened today. You can see this professional event procedure, because today I'm wearing a new sensor on my chest the doctor gave me. Right there, I'll kind of show off my sensor. Hold on, let me turn the camera.
Here's the sensor today.
So this sensor right here, the cardiologist puts on your chest, and it does it's almost like a live EKG for a week. And it's not a Holter monitor, they're different. So it was really cool. But that being said, that allowed me, as you can see here, I've gotten here the procedure. So I've got the procedure automatically logged, right? It's the mobile 24-hour EKG. If I need information about it, I get it there. There's my patient ID from them. And then the serial number for the device. So what they want you to do is carry around this piece of paper and chart it. But I said, I didn't want to do that. So I went ahead and built a heart logging form so that it sits on my phone in real time. And when I have a cardiac incident, I go ahead and push the button, and then I log the data right here. And then it ties back into my total Airtable, which is all my healthcare, surgeries and everything, into these logs. So there's my short log for today. So notification, dizziness, what logged it, and when. The whole point is, what I want to be able to do is, when I go back and see the doctor, start to integrate all these disparate data points he has around this journey and trying to diagnose what could be going on with me. Is it the COVID vaccine? Could I have been exposed to COVID and the vaccine created some type of cardiac issues? Because I'm getting really winded and short of breath and just a lot of other stuff. But it just felt so amazing to have access to my whole health history, which I've had for a long time, but I've never been able to bring it to a doctor. And I've never sat down with a doctor and then integrated what he wanted to do into that system and then started using it in real time. Does that make sense?
It's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was the first thing I want to show. Second thing I want to show, I'll take questions if everyone has any questions. Second thing I'll show you is something I did on the spiritual side around chakras and stones. That's pretty cool with Airtable.
Well, I feel like my first thought was seeing those reports, because I think you shared those reports on Twitter, if I remember right. I was like, that's exactly what I think your reports would look like after seeing how nice your bases, like the Airtable bases, look like how well it's presented and how it's like a really nice Gantt view. I remember specifically for like any incidents that had happened.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think the thing about reports is in Report Designer, it just takes a lot of time. I mean, you can pull data from anywhere. Like you could type all this in 3 records and just pull it in. The rest you do with images. And I always tell folks, if you don't know or if you've never heard of, I think it's Icon Jar, not Icon Jar, sorry, Joy Pixels. Check out Joy Pixels. If you're an Airtable designer or just you do anything Airtable, Joy Pixels is your friend because it's really cheap. It's like $100 a year, but they give you access to thousands of fun emojis. And these fun emojis can go in reports. They can go in your actual base. So you'll see a lot of times on my bases are often like full of like really pretty, like get over here to values. They'll be full of like animated things. That's all coming from Joy Pixels, right? And I think what a lot of people don't know and don't consider when they're dealing with Airtable is Airtable has to look appetizing. To me, it's like you have to want to eat your data, if you know what I mean.
I think that's the biggest thing that people see, like, oh, Airtable is so functional. I can like manage all these systems in there, but then they just like build it and then they're like, okay, now I'll use it. But it's not like something that's super attractive other than like just the pure utility of it.
You end up like me with like super unorganized, 40 views with all kinds of junk in between.
Take my health base, right? So my health base looks, it's like flat like a regular health base. It's got one thing in it, but when you look at it in grouped, it starts to get really interesting because then you can say, okay, I don't want to see everything. I just want to see the surgeries for who, me or my puppy, right? Okay, I don't want to see the procedures.
Well, hold up. What did you just do to hide all?
Collapse all?
I collapse all. Well, they're not all.
You right click on there.
Yeah, collapse all. I do it all the time.
Yeah, I just like never really noticed these things. I also didn't notice the search app until you had that on your health base, and I'm literally playing around on the side over here. I'm like,
I love search app. Yeah, my whole base. I think I used to call it Search Life at the top. I can't remember right now. It doesn't matter. I won't bring up those things. But again, just even if you don't want to do all your health, just putting your doctor's visits in there, right? Professional visits, and then sorting them by person. And then was it a well visit? Was it a sick visit? Right? My sick visits go back decades. And then other types of visits, laboratory tests, being able to see all your laboratory tests over a great span of time is super important. But how about when someone says, how often do you get, say, what prescriptions or what supplements do you take? Being able to see your current prescriptions or being able to see your all your procedures you've ever had, when you had them. I can jump in here, look at my brain scan, the actual report of my brain scan. I can send the doctor a link to this particular record. So it took all the things.
If any radiologist or neurologist are watching this, please help us understand that one.
Yeah. You don't want to look at my mind. But I think my point is here, there's so much. I just got done doing a podcast with someone who's like, how do I even get started with Airtable? I'm like, well, don't do anything big. And they specifically want to talk about health. I'm like, if you've got a baby or you've got a family member or just a pet, log those visits. Like, I can't tell you how often I have been scammed by vets, right? Vets always are like, well, your dog needs this, your dog needs that. I'm like, well, no, really. Here's all my, I've got all my dog's records and all my dog's visits. I can tell you the last time my dog had his shot. I can show you the shot certificate, right? Just keeping it super simple and focused on one thing makes all the difference in the world. And it goes back to like one of my biggest precepts about using Airtable. Your first base, no matter what you do, always has to be about the people. Like, who are the people? What are the things that you're managing? I like values as second, but just go from there. Because once you have a person and some things you have to manage, they link together really well. For me, it's like person and then like journaling, like, visits, emails, calendar appointments, then health, right? Or, assets you buy. Oh, well. Any other questions about the health base? Because I love my health base. It really saved my ass today.
Do you have any tips if there's somebody listening to this that wants to use or like start on the health base? Is that one of the ones that is in the Habit store, or is that going to be someday in the Habit store?
That will be someday in the Habit store. Originally, what I wanted to do with all the kind of the Chris Dancy bases, because remember, all of mine are one big system, which I think would freak a lot of people out, right? Let's be honest. I don't want to scare people. I wanted originally, and I was thinking about doing this with external tables, sell it like this. So you'd get one system that was just these things. And this would allow people to kind of do basically life project management. So you'd have your entities. For me, I have values. Daniel and I have talked about this. I like timeline because it's important to have someplace other than Facebook to put your important memories. Plus you can show them on a map. And then these are kind of how you run your day. Things come in like emails, calendar appointments, journals, or you contacting people out, and all these linked to things, tasks, projects, and goals. But then that rolls up to you deal with other people and other organizations. So that was going to be one base. And I thought I could sell this just as one base and then sell these things as external base. So external tables, if that makes sense, right? So someone could upgrade and then get Money Kit, which would have bills, documents, your transaction ledger, and actually your credit cards and bank accounts. That's what we call money. And then another group of external tables called Asset Kit, which are the things you buy, the apps you have, and where they live in your life. And then another one called Health. I just showed you Health Kit. And then my business runs on those too. But when you look at my Airtable, it's this massive system, right? It's like all these different tables go here.
It'd be interesting to sell components of the larger system, like keep people of the mind that these can be modules to add on, basically.
And that would be my hope, or ultimately, is Airtable would allow us to sell these little modules, because people build these systems. A lot of companies are selling like a CRM kit. A lot of people are doing asset management. I think, Devin, in some ways you do asset management. That's an asset kit, right? A lot of people are doing some type of financial management. But I think where some people look at my systems and they get overwhelmed, I go, no, keep it simple. It starts with something or someone. That someone has things that happen. Those things that happen intersect with the outside world. We don't get to the outside world till here. And until you intersect with the outside world, you don't have money and things to manage. Until you have money and things to manage, you don't have assets and places to keep them. And until you have assets and places to keep them, you probably don't have anything you care about with your health. And you probably don't have a business to run. And then I move them all kind of into a functional grouping. So I kind of wish it was just like this. You could jump in and out of my system from that kind of front end. But I was really inspired today because I just did this hour-long podcast with this big newscaster in Australia, and I walked him through setting up live his entity table. We synced to one calendar where he just puts appointments that come into Airtable, and then we did one extra table called organizations. And he said, "Now, why would I do this?" I said, "Well, you've got you, and you've got you, the business." Right? Because I've got me and me, the business. I said, "Now when you make your appointments, you'll know which." So then we created a couple different apps on the side so he could start seeing some real-time data of these things as the sync happened. He was just so happy, right? And I think if we don't start teaching people to take back power from the internet, they're going to continue to feel uninspired, just unautonomous, right? I think if there's anything that should ever be known about my story, it's I cared enough about myself. Right? I think every single person watching this should care about themselves as much as Mark Zuckerberg does. I think you should care about your life as much as Tim Cook does, but like so many people, they just get overwhelmed. You have to make it simple and small. So sorry for the rant.
Because that's how you started as well. You started when you started looking more at your health, if I remember right.
Yeah. If you go back, if you go back 12 years, that all started with health, and some of the earliest things I did, my health got put into books. So, you could see kind of my health care and my behavior over time. This was a system I used that actually charted my behavior. But now in Airtable, I can make my own books, but it's funny because some people are into astrology books about their life. You could see the date I was born. Some people are on the healthcare of their life, but then you've also got the really deep data of your life. So now, here's my genetics. So here's my genetics in book form. This was something I took into the doctor today too. So you could start to understand what types of things might I be susceptible to. Listen, you only got one life. Enjoy yourself. And when I say yourself, I mean, enjoy you. That's what's so cool about Airtable.
If anybody from Airtable is listening, I would enjoy my life a lot more if you guys stopped relying on the first view of the list to do all kinds of things. I was just testing out this search app, and I was like, "Oh, let's expand this card." After I've narrowed the search to a view, oh, I see. Of course, defaulting to the start again, even though we're limited to the specific view.
Well, that's the thing. It's remember we've talked about last time role-based permissions and these groupings and how I think they're going to have to be not only for the view, but they're going to have to be for the apps. They're going to have to be, right? This role-based permissions is a big deal in enterprise apps. We need it because then what you could do is you could put a default view on a role. right? Not and it'll start to make sense. I almost wish we had like a real enterprise system, Howie, where we could demo this, but like it isn't there. I'll tell you what thing I do more than anything else in Airtable. Does anybody use the little ellipsis button and then come in to copy another view's configuration? I use this. Look at somebody shaking their head. I use this thing all day long, and I always have, as some of you guys will know, I always have what I call like a maker, like so something that's kind of like the default best groupings, and like global's always that version, and that's what I know to copy from.
Yeah,
I just duplicate views.
Yeah, but then if I duplicate view, the problem is that you have to have kind of like one master one, and then you can duplicate a view. But sometimes you get like a view theme, and that's when you copy from that theme. What I really love doing is creating really nice web forms and using that as what I call the simple look, the simple view. Right? Because on forms, it's usually what you want. Another thing, Devin, I'm sure we could rant about is if you in form view, you should be, if forms are hidden, or tables are fields are hidden. They should say hidden. I hate the fact you can expand them. Like, no, keep those hidden. Sorry, I'm going crazy.
Like
so let me show you.
What do you mean?
Expand a record, you can go down to the bottom and unhide the fields.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. It's weird. They're called hidden fields, but only if you really have the will for it. If not, they're just conveniently not available. And
if you share your view, then they're actually hidden. So if they're shared with outsiders, then they're actually hidden.
Yeah, I've never really thought about that. All right, so I got to show you guys the next cool thing we did this week. So this will be the off the rails portion of the show. So you guys know I've got this whole base that just focuses on spirituality, right? So now is my physical life, my financial life, and forever is kind of my spiritual realm. So in the spiritual realm, I have this system that I've been using for a while that pulls tarot cards. So I'm going to go in here and go to tarot. So let's do a little demo for you guys today. So let's say you come in the morning, you rate your mental health, rate your physical. My physical health's been crap because of this, how naughty or bad I've been feeling, and then your spiritual health. And I kind of explain like how you would rate it. And what's nice is you get really good charts out of this. But then I allow you to go ahead and pick your emotion. And I built an emotion picker. So there's a whole reference table based on every single emotion most people have built into like groupings. So kind of the fearful
joy pixels.
Yeah, these are more joy pixels, so fear, but then kind of all the types of fear: frightened, helpless, scared, angry, all the types of anger, all the types of disgust, all the types of sadness, all the types of happy, surprise, etc. But after you pick your feeling, I had this, what I normally would do after that is I would do a little journal. You can see my journal from down here today, but then I would draw the tarot card. But I met someone who works with crystals and chakras and everything. So I started learning from this guy, like what crystals work with what chakras and stuff. And he's telling me certain crystals work really good with certain emotions. So I said, well, explain this to me. So we went to a gem show last weekend. And at this gem show, I learned, bought a bunch of crystals, learned all about them. So I built a gem table that links to the chakra and emotional mood that you're having. So like black tourmaline's great for fear. Is this enjoyable, by the way? People like
this is very interesting.
Thank you. So I just don't want to bore anyone. So I built this great gem table and then started linking kind of all their attributes so that, and this is what I love now, if I'm in the forever system and I've logged my mental health, my physical health, and my spiritual health, and I come in here and put in a feeling like I'm scared, because I'll be honest with you, this heart stuff's been freaking me out lately, right? Yeah. I don't know if we were live
up here on Substrate.
No, but I don't know if we were live, but last week's show or the week before, Devin showed his system that he manages, this massive system with hundreds of rows. And I was so blown away because I was just like, this is so neat. Like he can follow the seed all the way to like the seed becoming a fruit to the ground that seed grew in. And it's just very, on the seventh day, God made Devin and his plant system, it's just like,
yeah. Well, because we need to, right? So like basically every crop that goes through, we need to understand what inputs, at some level. Like, I mean, the Airtable base is very high level, and then kind of we're working on a project now to get a full on legit system and go super granular. But at a high level, what lot codes of inputs were produced outputs, so that if there's a problem upstream, we can stop the downstream effects.
Yeah.
But
And then a pastor reached out to me a couple months ago, and I sold him an old Apple computer. And then I visited him the other day at his house. We sat outside, even though I'm vaccinated. I still was like leery about everything. And it was so cool. He was talking about his church, and of course, my first mind went to, I'm going to build a religion system for Airtable. He started telling me how his church runs, because it's his main church, but then he's got these little teeny churches around that kind of roll up to the main church.
Table for
and then,
locations.
Yes, right. And then like these neighbors who live in a neighborhood all report to like the same central church. So I started showing him the HOA system combined with my spiritual system, right? Because there's certain hymns and things in the Bible. And then I thought to myself, I need to take the King James Bible and put it into Airtable. Like if you could cross-reference every
Each record
apostle,
would be
well, Jesus would be the entity. What Old Testament God and Jesus, right?
But you could have like a table for like the books, and then a table for the actual like paragraphs or whatever. Like whatever, I forget.
You have to be able to buy a CSV of the Bible, like by
Well, you can. I've looked. So as soon as I left this house, you can't get a CSV. You can't get a flat copy of it, but you also want to be able to search by every person in the Bible. So, Judas, and then all the locations. So Rome, right? And I thought to myself, can you imagine what a cool interactive Airtable I could make if I were to database Jesus? Like you could see,
program do it?
You could see like the history of the Middle East, like even being able to go to different places Jesus was and zoom in on a record and read about that part of Jesus's life.
Did you see what?
Daniel, did you just know that offhand?
Google. I just literally Googled how many verses in the Bible.
At this point, you're almost going to need an enterprise plan.
I mean, God would require an enterprise plan.
Well, yes. You're under 50,000 records, so...
So, unfortunately, the live stream cut off there right at the end, and we weren't able to capture the rest of the 30 or so minutes. But I hope you really enjoyed learning about the Life Airtable, visualizing your Airtable health data in a really nice condensed report. So, if you did, leave a comment down in the comments section. But if you click this video in the end screen right here, it'll take you to the next week's video. This is a lot longer of a video. We have a lot more stuff to talk about in here. So I encourage you to go check that one out, and we'll see you there.